Hello there, people. This is Gaming Scientist. Hope y'all had a good holidays. I had the vid right now, so my throat sounds a little bit weird. Just ignore it for right now. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get your collateral kills for Vanguard. If you get value out of this video, please like and subscribe. It will help the channel out real good. And I hope to help you out with more challenges that I upload later. But since you came here for collateral kills, let's get into the video. Because you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you don't normally play with snipers. Because it does happen in a blue moon, but it does happen. If you play with snipers long enough, you're going to get this challenge done. So I'm just going to assume that you don't normally play with that. The best thing I can tell those people to do is to get on hardcore and just use something like an M1 Grand marksman rifle that you can do semi-automatic with. That's how I got all of mine with, and the M1 Grand is the weakest one, and I was still able to get that with that M1 Grand. The reason why I say get on to hardcore is because that bolt action is what you're normally going to use whenever you do this challenge, or at least that's where your mind goes to. And a lot of times, if you miss that first shot because you're not used to playing with a sniper, if you miss that first one, then you have to wait for it to re-rack before you can even try again. So a lot of the times you're going to miss that one shot that you have because you're messing with a bolt action instead of a semi-automatic marksman that you can easily do it with on hardcore. And by that time, they already moved out of alignment from each other, so you don't have your chance to get that collateral anymore. Another thing you can do is make sure that the attachments on your gun give you the maximum bullet penetration and the maximum range for that gun. Just go through all your attachments and take off anything that take away from those two things, and then add anything with a added bonus of range and bullet penetration. Now that you got any trouble out of the way with shooting your actual gun to get it through those people, let's talk about the game mode and the strategies for those game modes. For this challenge, it's best to play objective games, mainly domination, hardpoint, or patrol. With any of the other games, people are too spread out, so it's just harder to find them lined up together to get that collateral kill. With domination, you have two things you can do to get people to line up for these collateral kills. The first thing that you can do is you can go onto a flag that your team has already captured and camp that flag. That way, whenever they're rushing to try to capture that flag, you can kill them on the way to capture it, or if they're already trying to capture right there, try to line up your shot. The other thing you can do is you can actually go to the other side of the map where they have their flag at, and then you're going to basically try to hold that flag. Because what's going to happen is you're going to basically tell everybody that you're right there trying to capture that flag. So everybody's going to come rush over to you. And whenever they're rushing to that objective, they're not paying attention to, okay, am I in front of another person or not? So if you're trying to capture their flag, you're just making everybody get into the head space of, I need to get there as fast as possible without paying attention to where everybody else is. But the downside of that is, to be able to do that, you have to be kind of a better player to be able to hold that position for long enough to get multiple people to come up to you. The next easiest game mode is hardpoint. With hardpoint, it really doesn't matter who has the objective. They can have it or you can have it. It's not going to matter in the end. Either you can try to hold that position down and again wait for them to try to come up to you, try to get into the hardpoint, or you can line your own body up while they're in the hardpoint to a point where you're going to shoot two more people that are sitting trying to camp the hardpoint. But the best thing to do in hardpoint is, you'll see right here, there's going to be the little lock symbol that's right there, telling everybody that's where the next hardpoint is going to be. if you can get the rotation down in your head with where the next one's going to be before it actually tells you, rotate early and find the hallway where everybody's going to come through. That way you can be prepared for the enemy team to try to switch to the next hard point. And if they're in a cramped hallway, you have more of a chance for them to be lined up right behind each other to get that collateral. The only thing about this is, first you have to know the rotation, so you have to play enough to know the rotation, and you have to find a hallway that is going to have people coming through 9 times out of 10 to get to the next hard point. If you already regularly play hard point, then the knowledge of it isn't going to be a big deal, but finding that hallway or cramped area, that's going to be hard to do. So the best game mode that I can say for you to do is Patrol. For those of you who don't know, Patrol is a game mode where a domination-sized flag is constantly moving around the map. And you might be wondering, why is this the best game mode? And it is because it's the one that I got literally all of my collaterals on. The reason why is that you're wanting that objective to come around a corner, because what's going to happen is people are going to try to stay inside of the zone for as long as possible without coming around that corner, because they know that as soon as they come around, they're going to get lit up. If you just basically wait around the side and wait for that objective to come to you, then you're going to get all of those people waiting there for the last minute to kill. Like right here, these 2 people were trying to stay inside of that zone right there as long as possible, but they ended up piling on top of each other. So that's why I think this is the best game mode, because there's going to be multiple times where they're just piling on top of each other like that to try to stay in there the longest that they can without being shot out. If you choose another game mode, that's fine. Just saying, I feel like Patrol is the easiest to do that with, especially on a map like Das Haus where they have such cramped areas and it's going through multiple cramped hallways. Probably best game mode / map for this challenge. But let's start talking about the actual strategy behind it. So, whenever it comes to combat pacing, you have tactical, assault, and blitz. These mainly talk about like the size of the map and the amount of people on that map. With blitz is normally bigger maps with a lot more people. It's also a lot more open area. So you normally think that with the amount of people that are on a blitz map, that you would have more chances for that collateral. But because it's so open, that you don't really get a lot of chances for them to line up with each other. If you're still going to try blitz, I would suggest that because you have so much open room, you work your way to the back of the map, because there's always going to be people. I don't care what you're playing. If there's this big of a map, there's always going to be people camping at the back. And if you can get to the back behind them without them even noticing that you're there, then you can kind of line up your shot at ease with nobody paying attention to you. For tactical is normally a smaller map with less people. Tactical, I would do pretty much the complete opposite. I would stay on your side of the map and wait for a cramped area for them to come to you. You just have to watch out for if you stay in the same spot for too long, they're going to just start chunking frags if you get too many there. So they're not even going to allow you to stay there, because they're going to be like, okay, I died here multiple times, just start chunking frags. I'm tired of this guy. But in the long run, this is mainly going to depend on what your play style is. So you're just going to have to kind of play around with, is blitz, assault, or tactical the best thing for you to do this with. But let's recap what we can do for this challenge. First thing you can do is play hardcore. Hardcore is always good for this challenge because you can just easily get through 2 people with 1 bullet. Use your semi-automatic rifles for this. That way you don't have to wait for it to re-rack before you try another chance at shooting your collateral. Make your attachments the best for bullet penetration and range. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, I have a good gun, but it's not really doing a whole lot. Play objective games, and that kind of depends on you, which objective game you want. I went through my list. I still feel like Patrol is best, but if you don't, I would still suggest some objective game. Head to the back for bigger maps to get that camping group that's always at the back of bigger maps. And if you're going to play smaller maps, stay in your spawn. Let them come to you. If you don't want to keep rushing to that side in a smaller map, because you're never going to get there and get a collateral. I don't know why. It's just a lot harder to do that. Anyways, people, I hope I helped you out with this video. If you did find value, like I said, please like and subscribe. It will help me out, and I hope to help you out later with more challenges. And I hope to see you again.